talk quickly about Proenza. Yeah, we can talk about that. An article came out very recently talking about the designers behind Proenza Schouler are potentially going to Loewe, because it's been rumored that JW Anderson is of course going to Dior, and if he goes to Dior he has to leave Loewe, which would mean that then who is going to Loewe? We've seen many different names being thrown into the mold. We've seen Luke and Lucy Meyer tied with the Loewe job. Those are the designers that design at Jill Sander. Now we are seeing apparently the designers at Proenza are the people that are front runners for the Loewe job. So it should be interesting. I mean, this is starting to feel like the Chanel job, where we are starting to see a lot of rumors here and there. And let's just wait and see. Otherwise, we're going to start doing, tomorrow it's going to be Proenza. The next day it's going to be Luke and Lucy Meyer for Jill Sander. The next day it's this designer. The next day it's that designer. I think let's just wait. Let's just be patient and not be, these people that were like always speculating. I do play into the speculation sometimes, so I'm definitely part of the problem too. I can always own up to being part of the problem too. I definitely am part of the problem in some respects, but let's be patient this time. Let's actually wait. Someone is saying Miss Tweed has got to the point where everything is taken as gospel. Yeah, I mean, I do think that Miss Tweed is definitely a very reliable source, just not every time. And I mean, no one gets it right 100%. I don't get it right 100%. So I think that's completely fine. But I do think that the recent musical chairs, especially, I do think that Miss Tweed has been throwing everything to the wind and seeing what sticks. But I like Miss Tweed. I'm a big fan of Miss Tweed because outside, what Miss Tweed is good for is like luxury and industry insight. So it's not just about this musical chairs thing. I think it's a very, very good and reliable resource for fashion, for sure. But yeah, you shouldn't just take every single thing that they say as like, they said this designer is going to this brand, so it must be happening. Someone said they definitely nailed the Blasi scoop. I mean, did they? Because before they got to talking about Matteo Blasi being at Chanel, and I think they were the first people to report it. It was either them or someone else. But I think it was them or Women's Wear Daily that reported it first, that had the scoop on Matteo Blasi going to Chanel. However, before that scoop, they had thrown a few names to the wind. It was Miss Tweed that was talking about different things about, it's the same Miss Tweed that said John Galliano would definitely be going to Dior and things like that. And now they're saying that JW Anderson is going to Dior. You see what I mean? So sometimes they do throw stuff at the wind. But I think there are other things to look at Miss Tweed for other than just that. Do you think celebrity collabs carry the same weight they did 10 years ago? It depends what you mean by same weight. But I definitely think that they are just as valid commercially. Like when Travis Scott does a collaboration with a brand, it normally sells out. So I do think that these things are still commercially viable. So in that sense, I would say that they do carry the same weight. I think people are getting tired of celebrities in general. Yeah, I've seen that kind of sentiment. Part of it is because people are starting to, which I don't know why it's taken this long for people to realize. People are starting to realize that a lot of celebrities are out of touch and they don't really understand the general problems of the day-to-day, everyday person. So they're kind of falling out of touch and they are less relatable. And a lot of celebrities that try to make relatability their marketing point, they always end up fumbling at some point and then showing that they're actually not that relatable and it's all an act. So I do think that, yeah, a lot of people are getting tired of celebrities for sure. Leo says, I think some brands were just making poor decisions on which celebrities they were banking on. I mean, some brands do make really good decisions though. Like, I mean, when Elie Simon was at Celine, having Lisa as one of from Blackpink, as one of the ambassadors was strong. So many people are obsessed with his Celine just because of that. So I think some brands make better decisions than others when it comes to what celebrities they are endorsing and which celebrities are marketing their products. Social media is creating celebrities every day. It's about what's popular now, what goes viral. Yeah, 100%. And one of my favorite fashion YouTubers, which you guys are aware of, Understitch, made a really good video that I watched recently. I'll show you guys the video because I was like totally out of my depth with this one. So yeah, Understitch made this video on the rise and fall of Jerf Avenue by Matilda Jerf. Now, funny enough, it's so weird because I work in the fashion industry and I see most things, but not everything. And I did not know about this at all. Like, not even a little bit. I didn't know about the whole saga around the influencer becoming big and becoming a celebrity and starting this like massive brand and all the issues that came from the brand. Like, I had no clue. I'd never even heard of the brand like once in my entire life. So it was really good to understand, kind of going back to this point of social media creating celebrities and celebrities being built out of that and how that manifests in the fashion industry. I think this is a very good video to watch. So it's by Understitch, which you guys know is a YouTube channel that I swear by and I'm a really big fan of. So definitely subscribe to Understitch and check out Understitch's latest video. I think it's a very, very good video. Do you think that Japan are the greats of fashion? Well, I don't think Japan has a monopoly on great fashion. However, I do think that a lot of iconic fashion comes from Japan, whether it's the fact that in Japan, some of the best denim in the world is made there, some of the best shoemakers in the world are in Japan. They have iconic designers, whether that's Kansai Yamamoto, Kenzo Takada, Jun Takahashi, Yoji Yamamoto, who else? Issey Miyake. There's an endless list of like iconic designers, Chihose Abe, like designers that are really good. But many countries can boast about that. Like, you can talk about Spain or you can talk about France and all the insane brands and designers that have gone through the French system and stuff. So I think it's just there's great fashion everywhere. Japan is one of those places where there is really, really amazing fashion. Someone says, having lived in Japan for the past few years, the average person dresses better here 100%. Yeah, I can agree with that to an extent. Of course, dressing well is subjective, but I can agree with that. Because in London, I think people dress well, especially in London, a lot of people wear suits to go to work still. And I think London tailoring in general is really fashionable and stylish, to the point where you notice it when you go to other countries. Like, I'm so used to how well tailored a lot of people dress in London that when I go to, like, where was I? I think I was in New York or something. And the suits in New York that the average person wears in New York, they are really bad. Like, every time I go to New York and I see people going to work and I'm like on the train and you look at the suits, it's like, damn, people's suits are really bad here compared to London. But it makes sense. London, we have Savile Row, we have all sorts of things, right? There's a whole tailoring market and realm in London that doesn't exist in many other places. So yeah, that's why I'm saying that, people being stylish is very subjective. And most people have the perfect body to wear most clothes in Japan. That's true. That's true in a sense. Maria Rodriguez says, I'm trying to know more about African designers. I know you mentioned some Nigerian designers, but where do you look for interesting upcoming designers on/from the continent? Okay, so I will hold my hands up and say that even I need to educate myself more about fashion in Africa. Of course, I'm very aware of fashion in Nigeria because I half live there. So I'm very involved in the fashion scene in Nigeria. But outside of Nigeria, there are obviously countries. I think that the best fashion industry in Africa exists in South Africa. I think South Africa has the biggest number of prominent designers. They also have the best infrastructure. They have some of the best fashion schools in Africa. So I would say South Africa is definitely somewhere to look. But across the board, I see really interesting designers from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Cameroon, from South Africa, from a lot of places. But I would say the most prominent fashion industry in Africa is definitely in South Africa, for sure. Like, South Africa even has the industry on lock. South Africa is one of the biggest exporters of merino wool. They have a lot of merino wool farms there. And so there are a lot of factories in South Africa. And if you guys watch my documentary that I did in South Africa, I actually went to a factory called Vuya, which specializes in knitwear, which makes sense because those are a lot of the fabrics that South Africans have ready to make things like knitwear. So they specialize a lot in knitwear. There are a lot of really good knitwear designers in South Africa for that reason. So yeah, there are many places to look, but I would say South Africa is like the main place to look if you're thinking about African fashion, because I think their industry is really advanced compared to everywhere else. This is also true. The art scene is popping. The South African art scene is really, really good too. That's true. This YouTube channel runs on your support. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to my Patreon. You'll gain access to exclusive content that includes everything from my Patreon podcast, where I give a behind-the-scenes insight into the fashion industry, as well as a fashion book club, where I review my favorite fashion books. You can also check out my fashion ebook, which highlights the best fashion journalists to follow, definitions of common fashion terminology, and how to determine what a good source of fashion information is. The links to everything are in the description below.